Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. It's Crypto Lamb here, aka Andy, and today I'm going to talk to you again about the strategy that we're currently using over in Profit Sniper. Using the Profit Sniper support and resistance indicator is a very simple and easy to use strategy, and I'm going to walk you through that now. So in the previous video, which you can now watch, link is above my head there, we spoke about how to frame our strategy for the day. For now, I've already framed this one out so we can talk about what happened and how it's going. And then after, I will do the same thing on Ethereum. This is on Bitcoin. I'll do the same thing on Ethereum after to show you how we set it up and do it, because you can do the strategy on pretty much on any pair at all. So for now, I'm just going to explain what happened with BTC, and it's very easy. So we set up our trading range here. So basically, here we have the white channel here that we've already framed on the daily view, and we've drilled down to the 15-minute window. And this line that's in the center, I'm just going to highlight it with a horizontal ray. So this line in the middle here, this is our midpoint. If a trade appears above this line here, which I'm going to color yellow, then if a flag appears above this point, then it's probably a very good trade to take. For example, this one, this one, this one, this one, and so on. And likewise, on the other side, if I do another horizontal ray down here and change that to orange, anything that appears below this line for a long is good to go long. For example, this long here, and these longs just about make it into the cut there as well. Now, the interesting thing to remember is if a long flag appears under the midline and you check the MACD, for example, and it all looks good and you've done your technical analysis and you agree with it, then you can frame that and go long if you wish. Likewise with these shorts, for example, you can then take those shorts and head down to win those ones as well, because chances are they may or may not come to fruition. But the best ones to use are the ones that are in the green zone at the top and at the bottom. So first of all, we had a long here appear 28th of January at midnight. It went long. So the idea is you go long and then you close it on the next flag. So you open up the trade here, which would have been at 29,850 approx. You would have gotten 5.89% at 10x leverage. That would have been a nearly 60% move. You wouldn't have taken this short because it's below the green line here, so it's below the midline that you want to take, so we would not have taken that short. This long here is actually showing us two longs. We would have only taken one of those. You would have taken that and closed that on the next short because it's below the green line. You would then close it on the next short flag here, which would have given you 4.58%, which obviously would have been 45% at 10x leverage. Very nice profit again. This short here, you would take. This short would appear here, but you would have lost that one, and that would have lost you 67%. At that point there, these two wins here would have covered you. You would still be 36% up at this point. Then you would have taken this short here, which would have netted you a further 65% at 10x leverage, which means you're now 101% up. You would then take these longs here because they're under the midline, and you would close it on the long flag up there, which would have given you 165%, which means you're now up 266%. You would take this short, which is well out of the range there, which is really good. You would take that one, which would have given you 134%, add that to your 266, which would have given you 300% in total. You then take this short, which would have netted you 2%, which obviously 10x would have been 20%. Add that to the total, that's 319% exactly. And now to talk about these ones in the blue circle here, what they are a little bit of chop and indecisiveness. So the point is that we wouldn't take these longs because they are above the midline. However, you would end up taking the shorts here. However, because you have a 5% stop loss, so far in either direction, you have not lost. So essentially, these three flags here, you would still be in this trade because you have a stop loss of 5%. We haven't hit a 5% move yet, so you would still be in this short right now. So in order to win that, you would need to see the price action from here move down to a level where you can take profit and the next long flag appears. So right now we would still be in this trade. So the point is that within this range here right now, we haven't moved enough to win this short. So you are still in this trade. If we move down and then a new long prints, then you will potentially win that trade as well. I would guesstimate probably 40 or 50% in the money when that moves. But for now, that's all we have. We've been in a short now since this morning at 6 a.m. and that is how that works. Now I'm going to show you how you can set up your range for the day so you can trade within those parameters using Profit Sniper SNR and using Profit Sniper X. So over on Ethereum, what you do is you switch over to the daily chart there. So to help you set this up yourself, you switch over to the daily view. This is on Ethereum. You would do exactly the same thing on BTC or whatever else you want to frame. And then in the top left hand corner, you will see the line here, the trend line. Click on the arrow to go down to parallel channel. Once you've done that, go back the last, say, 48 hours, and then you're going to draw a line and cut off the tops of the wicks there. We're not interested in those. And then you're going to draw down to the bottom candle, cutting off the wick as well, and that is going to be your range. I'm going to color that in white so it's a little bit easier. So once you've drawn your channel there, I've set that to be white so it's a little bit easier. Now what we're going to do is we're going to head over to the 15-minute window here, and we have a very similar picture to what's going on BTC on ETH. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw another parallel channel going from the very top of this channel here, and then I'm going to move that up, cutting off the tops of the wicks there. I'm now going to do a quick Control V, Control C to copy it, and then I'm going to move that down there, and then I'm going to color those in green just so they're a little bit easier to see. And then we're going to turn on Profit Sniper SNR, and then we get our flags for the day. And as you can see, pretty much the same as BTC. Realistically, with the moves, we have a nice long down here, and we have this short here which we wouldn't have taken because it's below the midline. This short you would have taken. This long you would have taken because it's below the midline. This short you would have taken but probably lost because it was above the midline and then went in the other direction. This short you would have taken, and I think probably, I'm not entirely sure, I think you would have won that one. And you would have gone long here, losing that unfortunately, but closing on that short. You take the short and win that. So ETH is a little bit more complicated. So the difference is knowing when to change the strategy and knowing when it's stopped working and it's become invalidated. So for example, we would take this short here, but ultimately you would not have left that short until approximately up here where you would have been stopped out at 5%. Now the thing is, what would indicate to me is that we're probably in a different channel now and it would be time to move, would be the fact that you start seeing a lot of chop, and these shorts here, these shorts here, these longs here, this long here, and so on and so forth. At this point I would probably want to rethink my channel. So with that in mind, I will then take the channel all the way back to about this last short here. And I'll do the same for all three channels. So we're going to move the channel here. Now this point here, because this is where a majority of the chop is, it's relatively flat. You can see there's just long, short, long, short, long, short, and it's just complete flat here. What I would probably want to do at this point here is set my channel to have the midpoint probably somewhere in between that point there. So I would want my midline to line up with where that chop is, so it goes straight through the middle of it. If I draw a horizontal ray going through the middle of that there, I'm basically going to want my channel to be in the middle of that, so we line up nicely with the chop. So just to try and explain that a little bit better, we've gone through a period of chop up here, and now you can see, because of this period of indecisiveness now, it's basically invalidated our channel once we go through that kind of chop. So essentially you would have entered this short here, but when you started seeing the long, short, long, long, and it's just constant sideways motion and you're not really getting anywhere with either trade, which is why it would be a very good idea to kind of paper trade along. So if you are in a short here, for example, you see that long flag turn up, you would close on that long flag, but you would probably want to go long again. Once you go long again, and then pretty much within a couple of hours you see another short, but it hasn't really moved much, that would indicate that we are in a state of chop. So at that point there, stop trading. Stop trading at that point and then rethink your channel. Draw a line basically through the middle of where that chop is, so that you can see the range for that chop. Let me just draw a horizontal ray at the top of it and another horizontal ray at the bottom of it, and basically you can see in here the candles are just not moving anywhere else. They're stuck within that pattern. So once you see that chop there, then it would be a good idea at that point to move your channels. So that's what we've done here. We've moved our channels up now, so the midline is now going through the center of that chop, which basically means it fixes our strategy so that we can continue from here. So at this point here, we would end up taking this next short. This next short is above our new midline. So we would take that, starts about there and heads down to this long here, netting us another 52%. This long here would then go to about 2%, and then it would change to a short. But you wouldn't take that short because it's below the midline, so you would ignore that entirely. We would then see a pump. Now the thing is that if you've closed your trade at this short flag here and you're just watching this pump happen, that's unfortunate. Unfortunately, these moves do happen. You can't predict every single big move. If you're using news such as Twitter and you see where Elon Musk decided to put Bitcoin in his profile, for example, you could probably make an educated guess and see where Bitcoin is going to go in the short term. Now, chances are you would end up taking this short because it's above the midline, and you would go here. Now the problem is you would see it go into about 17% into the money, but then obviously we had a bounce and it turned up. So once it turned up, you would then be stopped out. I don't even think you would be stopped out actually. So if you took this short here, you wouldn't even be stopped out. And the reason you wouldn't be stopped out is because if you take a look at where the candle started, you would end up about 17% in the money there. And then we had a pump. Now the thing is, if your stop loss is at 5%, you would see that we only go to 4.8% before we started turning back down again. So you could either close it for negative 30% when that long flag appears, or you could allow it to ride. Once we get that short down there, we would then continue to ride to 46% in the money overall. Then you would jump on this long. This long then takes you up to this short, netting you another 64%. And then from that short there, you would head down to this long, giving you another 42%. So ultimately, if you are able to read it right, you would probably only have one loss here. So you would take this short down to about this long, and then you notice it's going into chop. So realistically, the losses are very negligible around this sort of level. But overall, you would be in a massive amount of profit as long as you pay attention to the chop. Now, you see that we've gone into chop here, but it is around our midline. So there would be no need to move the channel at this point here because it is just bouncing around our midline. I hope everybody understands everything that I just said and why we moved the channel and how we would then decide to not take a trade or take a trade if we're above and below the midline and so on and so forth. I will be explaining this further with the group as well, doing regular Zoom calls with the group to help them with this strategy. And if you want to know more and you want to join in and trade with us, head over to profitsniper.co today and check that out. Make sure you use my link to sign up to Bybit below. This is a very, very good strategy when you use it correctly. It's to sign up today, buy it for an absolute steal, 0.025 BTC. Head over there and I will see you in the group very, very soon. I hope this complicated strategy wasn't butchered to death by my explanation too much. I hope that helps. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I will catch you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.